Mike Arcuri, so let me ask you this. Hydrofracking, it's on everybody's lips. People understand that New York City was excused from having hydrofracking in their water table. Syracuse people were excused from having it in theirs, but the rest of the state may have to have this. We asked Governor Patterson about it recently, and he seems to be becoming more amenable to putting some brakes on until we find out more about the damages that can be caused than he did in the beginning. What's been your thinking on this?
Well, that's my sense. I have some concerns that the environmental impact statement, what they refer to as the EIS, that was done by the Department of Environmental Conservation, left out some, I think, factors that needed to be taken into consideration in terms of evaluating what the impact was. And to go to your point earlier, I am glad that the decision was made not to drill in the New York City water table. I am glad that the decision was made not to drill in the Syracuse and the Skinny-Atlas water table. However, my district and the rest of New York, much of that rural area has groundwater as the source of its water. And I have a great concern that, while natural gas extraction would be an incredible boon to New York and be very helpful, it is, as I always say, Alan, it's at best our second greatest natural resource. Water is our greatest natural resource, and we need to make sure that the environmental impact statement that the state comes out with has everything in it that we need to. We need to make complete, as certain as we possibly can, that this will not affect New York State's greatest resource, and that is our water. That's why I have been, so adamant in terms of, let's pump the brakes a little bit here and make sure that, we're doing everything that we can. One of the other things that I have done is we had an amendment included recently. I was able to get in the Transportation Infrastructure Bill when we oversaw the Oil Drilling Accountability Act. I think that we need to not only make oil companies accountable for offshore drilling, but onshore drilling as well. So my amendment said that the Clean Water Act must apply to oil and gas drilling companies just like it applies to every other company that does any work, any construction work in our country. Right now they are exempted. They were exempted as a result of the 2005 FERC bill. I think that they should apply. And what that means is if groundwater is running across a drilling construction site, they should ask the EPA for a waiver to make sure that groundwater is either diverted or runs around, because it picks up silt, it picks up dirt, deposits it in our water system, and then we, you and I, the ratepayers, have to pay for that. How about anybody else? You go to build a school, you go to build a road, you have to have an EPA waiver to make sure that you've taken that into consideration. That's why when you drive along the road, you see black plastic fences and you see bales of hay, because it's stopping the runoff water. Oil and gas companies do not need that. That is unfair, and it's unsafe for us. The point is this. So if runoff water, in other words, a stream is coming down through it, and it's, if they have cleaned off the grass and they've cleaned off the trees and created this construction site, which they do, the amount of sand and gravel that is picked up in the runoff water increases dramatically, as you would imagine, because you've stripped the grass off, you've stripped the trees off. That silt and that sand that's picked up in the runoff water then gets into our streams, gets into our waterways, and is incredibly expensive to filter out when the water gets to our water system. So what we're saying is you need to make sure that runoff water is diverted. That's why you always see on roadside construction sites bales of hay or plastic fencing, so that the runoff water is held back and it doesn't pollute the water systems. The oil and gas companies do not have that requirement. So we're saying, look, they should be, they make the money. They're wealthy enough. They can take extra steps to make sure that our water supply is clean. I mean, those are the kind of things that really, frankly, I think anger people. When they talk about fast-tracking gas and oil, that's the kind of fast-tracking that we should not be doing. We should make sure that the oil and gas companies do everything that they can to keep our drinking water safe and not contaminate it, not add to it.
So when you were fighting for this amendment, which you were able to get into the law, was anybody lobbying you not to do it?
No one lobbied it, because we put it in. We didn't advertise the fact that we were going to put it in. We put it in during the markup. We offered the amendment.
The markup is that point at which the committee is sitting around and writing out the bill.
Well, we're actually drafting up the bill formally, so I put it in then, and obviously Maurice Hinchy was very supportive. We talked about it. My chairman, Jim Oberstar, was very supportive of it, so we did it. But after the fact, obviously, I heard from, a number of people who said, well, the oil drilling companies are not very happy with you, because of what you did. And I said, well, that's unfortunate that they're unhappy with me, but why should they be exempted when no one else is exempted from this? And you know what? They make enough money to make sure that our groundwater is safe. I mean, look, I want cheap gas. I want cheap oil. But you know what? I want the water that we can drink, that the people in, that my constituents know is clean. I mean, we can live without gas and oil. We cannot live without clean water.
Mike Arcuri, I couldn't agree with you more. And we'll see you the next time when we're going to be talking, I hope, about jobs and infrastructure, okay?